Operation Epic Fury has crossed the point of no return. President Trump confirmed today that U.S. forces have obliterated Iran's primary oil export hub on Kharg Island. For those unaware, Kharg is the lifeblood of the Iranian economy, facilitating over 90% of its crude exports. Satellite imagery confirms massive plumes of black smoke and the total neutralization of terminal facilities and storage tanks. This is no longer just a military operation against missile sites. It is a full-scale economic assault designed to cripple the regime's financial viability. Trump's message is clear. If the defiance continues, their source of wealth will be erased. The strike involved a coordinated wave of B-2 Spirit stealth bombers and Tomahawk missiles, effectively bypassing Iran's remaining air defenses. As we speak, the global energy market is reeling from the sight of the world's most critical oil terminals burning. The Epic Fury has reached an intensity that many hoped to avoid, but the White House has made its choice. The strategic landscape of the Middle East has been permanently altered in a single morning, setting the stage for a total economic confrontation. Standing before the press, President Trump used a term that sent shockwaves through the diplomatic world: obliterated. He stated that these targets were not merely hit, but completely neutralized to ensure they remain unusable for years. Trump's rhetoric is designed to project absolute strength, aiming to force the Iranian leadership into total submission. According to Fox News, the president personally authorized this strike after intelligence indicated Tehran was preparing a massive retaliatory attack. By targeting their oil revenue, Trump is gambling that the regime will collapse internally before it can mount a sustained counteroffensive. We are not looking for regime change, but we are looking for a regime that cannot fund terror, the president noted. This bold, some say reckless, move marks the pinnacle of Trump's maximum pressure 2.0. He is betting everything on the idea that economic annihilation will prevent a wider regional war. However, the world is now holding its breath, waiting to see if this obliteration brings peace or triggers a catastrophic, desperate retaliation from a cornered adversary. While the president celebrates a tactical victory, national security officials and lawmakers are deeply divided over the decision to strike such a sensitive economic target. Critics argue that by destroying Kharg Island, the U.S. has left Iran with nothing to lose, which is the most dangerous state for any adversary. Behind closed doors, there are reports of heated debates within the Situation Room. Some generals reportedly warned that this move makes an all-out regional war inevitable. Protests are erupting outside the White House, while supporters praise the president for finally taking the gloves off. The legal basis for this specific strike is also being questioned in Congress, with some members demanding an immediate cessation of hostilities. This isn't just a war in the Persian Gulf, it is a political war at home. Trump has bypassed traditional diplomatic channels to deliver a knockout blow, but the domestic price for this action could be a fractured government at the worst possible time, leaving the administration vulnerable to both internal dissent and external threats. The destruction of Kharg Island has sent global energy markets into a state of absolute panic. Reports from metro.co.uk indicate that Tehran is now warning the world that oil could reach $200 a barrel as a direct consequence of this attack. Within hours of the strike, Brent crude prices surged to levels not seen in decades. Economic analysts warn that if the Strait of Hormuz remains contested and Iran's primary export hub is destroyed, the $200 mark is no longer a fear scenario. It is a looming reality. This is not just an American problem. It is a global catastrophe. From gas stations in Ohio to factories in Germany and China, the ripple effects of Epic Fury are felt by every consumer on Earth. Major shipping lines have suspended operations in the Gulf, fearing that any vessel could be a target for Iranian mines. Trump's economic obliteration of Iran threatens to trigger a global recession. The White House claims they are prepared to release strategic petroleum reserves, but experts doubt this will be enough to stabilize a market that has lost one of its biggest suppliers overnight. Iran's response to the destruction of their oil hub is moving from conventional to highly asymmetric. Reports now highlight the use of drone boats, small, explosive-laden, remote-controlled vessels that have already caused explosions on 2 tankers. These are not just threats. They are the new reality of the Gulf conflict. Yuccas, hard to detect, and swarming in nature, these drone boats are a nightmare for the U.S. Navy. Iran is signaling that if they cannot export their oil, no one can. By mining the Strait of Hormuz and utilizing these swarm tactics, Tehran is effectively holding the global economy hostage. We are no longer waiting for a war. We are in the middle of a massive escalation. Iran is acting like a cornered tiger, unpredictable and lethal. These drone boats allow them to strike commercial vessels and even naval assets without engaging in a direct fleet-to-fleet battle, forcing the U.S. to commit even more resources to protect the few remaining open shipping lanes in the region. Despite the obliteration of the oil hub, the logistical reality for U.S. forces is becoming grim. We are 15 days into a high-intensity conflict, and the strain on personnel and equipment is visible. The loss of the KC-135 tanker earlier this week was a warning sign. Maintaining a 24/7 combat air patrol over the Persian Gulf requires a staggering amount of fuel, parts, and maintenance. Our munition stockpiles, particularly for high-end interceptors like the SM-6 and Patriot missiles, are being depleted faster than they can be replaced. If Iran launches a massive saturation attack with hundreds of missiles and drone boats, will we have enough interceptors to protect our carriers and regional bases? The Pentagon is reportedly rushing emergency shipments, but the logistics of a long war are vastly different from a quick strike. Trump has hit the enemy hard, but the military now faces the challenge of sustaining that pressure while its own resources are stretched to the absolute breaking point. The epic fury is a hungry beast, and it is consuming American assets at a record, unsustainable pace. We are now entering the most dangerous 48 hours of the 21st century. The destruction of Kharg Island was a monumental statement of power, but it was also a gamble of historic proportions. If Iran collapses, Trump will be hailed as a master strategist. However, if Iran responds by setting the entire Gulf on fire, the $200 oil price and a global energy crisis will only be the beginning of a much wider conflict. Tehran is currently silent, and in military intelligence, silence is often the sound of a looming, devastating response. We, here at the Military Report, will continue to track every minute of this crisis, from the surge in oil prices to the movements of Iranian drone swarms. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on to receive our next briefing. Will this strike finally end the conflict, or has it just guaranteed a global disaster? Share your strategic analysis in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and stay strategic.